Welcome back everybody to Tesla Driver and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be going down cross-country roads here in the UK. Well, they're not going to be fully cross-country, but we are out in the Wiltshire countryside at the moment, and we're going to be going down A and B roads on our way to Salisbury, because the video yesterday was the Salisbury city tour. This is actually me driving there now. So what I'm going to try and do is use autopilot for the most of it as I can, but I'm basically going to be filming just a normal drive for me, and just to show you how often I use autopilot normally, and then I'll let it get into some situations that I know it's probably going to fail at. I've done this route like 1,000 times without autopilot. I've never done it with autopilot. So let's see what it does. I know we've got a very harsh S-bend coming up here. The car's not braking early enough for me, so I'm going to bring it all the way down to 40 and let it do this S-bend by itself. Now that's the one thing I'm still wanting a huge update for as soon as possible, and that is speed regulation, so that the car knows to slow down way before it is at the moment, because at the moment it slows down when it sees the obstacle, and sometimes that can be a little bit too late. Actually, it's always a little bit too late if I'm being honest. Now the road here does actually squeeze in and become one road, and the lines disappear, but we might be all right. Let's see what the car thinks of it. It's going across the bridge, no problem, it tracked it fine. I don't think that would have worked if another car was coming on the other side, but lucky enough, no other car was there, so we were able to do it fine. I'm gonna try and do like the fastest speed I feel comfortable at all times. That normally on these roads will be probably 50-ish, but some of the open areas I'll open it up as much as I can. Now I have got the navigation on, so you can see here where we're going to be going, and this is Navigate on Autopilot, but because we're not going to be going on any dual carriageways or motorways, we're not actually going to be using the Navigate on Autopilot bit of it where it will change lanes and such like that. Also, just so you know, this is version 2019.20.4.2. I've not had an update actually in a little while, it feels like. Coming into quite a tight area here with some pretty harsh corners, so I'm intrigued to see. I'm expecting the car to brake pretty hard to try and get itself around these corners, and a little bit close to the left side for me there. I'm going to bring it down to 45 here and just slow it down a little bit, and hopefully that will allow the system to have a little bit more time and make some slightly better judgments. I'm really not going to edit this video much. I'm just going to edit out any boring bits. But a lot of the driving I do want to keep, because I want to show you how good autopilot is on these roads at the moment, but also I want to show you the edge cases and the areas where it still needs work. But so far it's been really good, this journey. Ideally I want to be behind cars, so I'd like to actually catch up with these guys and be behind them so that they can regulate the speed, because they'll show you what a real normal driver will do on these kind of roads. So this is getting quite tight. You can see that we've had a little warning. It slowed us down there, so it slowed us down to take the corner, and that's obviously acting upon the new laws that were put in that stops the G-forces. This is a very tight corner here. I'm not sure if the camera is going to judge how tight that is, but that is very tight. No, it's doing it okay. The speed limit is 50, but I don't think you would go at least over 40 around these. But that's it, it just needs to slow itself down. I would always be happy for autopilot to be 10 to 20% slower, but work 100% of the time, because then at least you can trust it and you can have that little bit more of a relax while it drives. But at the moment, because it can't judge the speeds, and because these don't always stay up to date with the speed signs, it's very hard sometimes to trust it on the speed area. We're going to open it up now, and we're going to take it up to the speed limit of 60. Now, I know that the roads here are quite nice and swooping, but there are some pretty horrible corners bad potholes and bad lineage, and quite a lot of foliage coming over. It seems to have been cut back actually recently, but I was expecting that foliage to be a bit of an issue with the camera, because that's really, really hard for the neural net to understand and to figure out is what foliage is and whether it's on the road and whatnot. So we've got a couple of quite tight corners at the start here, and then it does ease out, but will it? Yeah, it's slowing down a little bit there. Went a little bit wider, but stayed in the lane okay. Also, if you do hear lots of rattles and bangs, it's because my daughter's car seat is in the car, and when she's not actually in it, it's so noisy, and also her pram's in the boot. So yeah, that's just the extra rattles. Don't think it's the car, it's definitely not the car. So we're gonna sit behind this, I'm not sure what this is, T-Rock? I'm not sure, and see what it can do. So I think I'm gonna put it up to 55, and we're gonna set it at 3 seconds behind. Oh, we've got a corner breaker who's going to brake for every single corner, it looks like. It's a brand new car, and you get that quite often. Brand new car, they're going to brake at every corner, and they're going to brake when other people come on the other side of the road. Especially lorries, they get very scared about lorries. Now, if I was driving myself, I would 100% overtake this person, because I would do 60 down here, and maybe a little bit more, but it's definitely an easy 60, and we're going 45, which is very, very, very quite slow, but very good for autopilot. Getting quite close to this left-hand side. It's feeling a little bit uncomfortable with how close it's getting sometimes. But we've stayed behind this guy, and it's quite good we have done, because there are some quite tight corners. Oh, we've got a lorry. Told you he'd brake. I told you, down to 35. Funny. Anyway, so yeah, it's some pretty tight corners coming up here, and a very, very blind one that I have no idea how autopilot's going to cope with. So I'm going to be very much on edge for this next little bit. And if you've been down this road, you know exactly what I mean, and it is exactly here. So I'm hoping the car in front, actually I'm going to bring my car down to 40, 35. Oh Nelly, it did it. It actually did it. Wow, okay, I think that was kind of luck, and I think we slightly actually went on the pavement on the left. It felt like we went slightly on the pavement. Or maybe we just like touched the curb, because it's not like a high curb, it's like a very low curb, but I think you can just kind of like tip a wheel onto it, and I think that's what I did there. But I've got to say, it's done very, very well. It was a little bit hesitant at that bit, and I 100% would not put autopilot through that bit if I wasn't recording and doing it for this, but it's still good to see that it actually would be able to do it. Now we're coming up to a giveaway junction. We're going to be taking a right turn, so let's see how the car deals with that. Obviously it's not going to turn the junction for us, but what I mean is it gets quite tight down the end of the road here. And I just want to see, oh, he's going left. Okay, we're going right here. So interesting, what would the car do here? It's kind of, there's no one behind us. It would just, yeah, it was going to go straight over. I guess it was following that line over there and thinking that that was a straight road. Which kind of makes sense actually, because it kind of looks like a straight road. Okay, we've got autopilot back on. And now we've got a really, really tough bit of road coming up. And I'm probably going to be going 40 to 45 around the majority of it. So when I regulate speed for autopilot, I do it always in stints of 5s. So if you push the autopilot stalk all the way up, it will go plus 5 miles an hour. If you pull it all the way down, it will go down 5. And I found that doing that, you can get quite a good judgment on what speed you want, and it does react fairly quick. So for example here, I want to go 40, so if I just click it now, it's gradually slowing down, it's not too harsh, it's not horrible, and down to 40 we go. So it does work pretty well. But it just needs to be a bit quicker at doing so. Whoa, okay, I had to pull off there because that was going onto that curb there. I think it seems to be trying to cut some of these tighter corners. And again, this is all because of the new regulations on stopping it turning hard enough. And it seems to be cutting corners to try and, you know, get around a tough area where it's left and right very fast. Like, whoa. Okay, so there, we're having issues there, I think, with the foliage, because it could see the lines further away. Okay, we went all the way down left there. We were going like down into the ditch. So it's struggling on these roads. This is exactly what we wanted to see. This is exactly what we wanted to see. Its limitations on these kind of roads. And I've got to say, it's definitely the regulations recently have hurt it a lot, but not as much as I think some people are claiming. I think it's quite an easy scapegoat for it at the moment, for people to complain about autopilot. But I think also the software is still not there for these kind of roads. But you know, it's good, but it's not great. It's just kind of fun, and that's not really what this should be, but it is fun to do. So again, we're going to stay at 45 here. We've got some quite high curbs on the left. We've got a couple of cones as well, slightly on the road. I'm going to bring it up to 50. I just want to see if I would love it to slightly go right here to avoid those cones, but it didn't really do anything. It just kind of followed them. And we have got someone now coming behind us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down to 45, because I think there's an overtaking point, and I think this guy will probably overtake us. Hopefully you can see the rear mirror as well there. Now these are quite blind and tight turns with the trees cutting our view, but as you can see, the car's actually doing really well. Okay, we're going to bring it down to 35 for this corner. And again, yeah, it's done really well at it. I'm going to start bringing the speed back up again. This is a very normal, kind of relaxing speed to drive these roads. And as you can see, the autopilot's doing it pretty well on them. Again here, I have to change the speed down, otherwise we would have gone into this at 40. Got an interesting hill here. It kind of goes to the right, then it dips down to the left. And we've got a bus coming, so this might, yeah, it's a little bit of a hard brake, but it's okay. It was a very tight road, and I think that's why the car decided to brake there. But he got through it without a problem. That's a very tight left turn. I'm expecting to have to take over because I might curb it. No, it's done it itself. And it did it really well. And around all these corners very well. And now we're coming out into a 50, so we're going to slightly speed it up to 40. And just get out of these corners. I think there's a couple of straights coming soon. But this is very typical of an English countryside road. you know, the road is fine. I think autopilot and autonomous cars are going to have to take it at kind of a 20-25% reduced speed. So this here, the road really does tighten. Can the car see that? Yeah, it can, and it's squeezing through. Definitely not made for an American car, this. Well, any of these roads, actually. None of them were made for big American cars. And I drive a Hummer and a Tesla. Alright, it's navigated that very well. It seems to be struggling with like the gravel on the side of the road here. It can't judge, I think, where the edge of the road is and how wide, or, you know, whether there's lines there or not. So I think that's just where it's struggling every now and then. Got some tight bends coming up, so I'm going to bring the speed down to 40 around these. Again, it did that really well. Okay, the car's decided there to brake very hard. Oh, wow. Okay, I have no idea what it braked very hard for then. So you saw it went all the way down to 30. And again, I think it was because the road widened, it turned, but then there were the trees here on this side. So when it tried to go around, I think it saw the trees as like the obstacle in the road. But that's not natural at all. That didn't feel good. But luckily, it was on like a slower road anyway. So this here kind of goes a little bit blind. Brilliant, the car did that very nicely. And the road widens here again and then kind of shrinks back in, but it didn't have a problem with that this time. So I think, again, not having a definitive edge by having a line there, I think this is just our, I don't know what it is actually. Every road in the UK like this just don't have left-hand lines. And I can't justify what it is. All I can say is it's laziness. To have a left line would be so good for everybody for any reason. But for autopilot especially, and any other kind of cruise system, I guess, that uses lines, it's so simple for them to add in, but they just don't bother. So we've got a very tight left turn here over the brow of a hill, but it judged that absolutely perfectly. I've got a little bit of an S-bend coming up. Gonna bring it down to 40 for this bit. Yeah, it's doing all this really nicely by itself. Again, a little bit nervous about this pavement, because sometimes I worry that it can't see a pavement and it thinks it's road. I've had several times where it seems to have gone for a pavement almost. But luckily it didn't do anything there, and that worked very nicely. I'm going to bring the speed up a little bit to 45. I think it's going to fail at this corner, but let's see. I'm assuming it's going to fail about here, but is it? No? Okay, it didn't. Oh, I think they've put some lines there. Before there was never lines there, and I was sure it was going to, because it was on like a little bit of a hill like that as well, I was like, I'm sure that's going to make it have an issue, but it seemed to be okay. I'm going to leave it at 50 for this corner because it should slow down a little bit, but not loads. Let's see what the car decides to do. Is it going to brake and slow us down? There we go. So yeah, we did get the warning there. I need to bring it right down for this bit because this is a left turn into a right. It is going into a 40 though anyway. But it's going over the cat's eyes there. Do you hear that? So we kind of had to cut across the corner to make that, and that's not good. So from that stretch of road, we've seen actually that was very, very capable at doing all of that. We've come now to a roundabout, so obviously I'm gonna have to take control. It probably actually would be okay at doing these roundabouts, but obviously there's people behind us and I can't kind of do that here. But I would probably have thought it would be able to do those roundabouts for us. To another roundabout now, so I'll have to take back control. It still doesn't slow you down to a roundabout either, like other systems, but I'm sure that will come fairly soon. Oh wow, okay, I think this person's going to adjust our speeds to single digits. All right, this will be interesting though, just kind of sitting behind this even slower driver. Now you can see the roads have got a little bit better here, they've got wider, so I'm expecting all of this to be very good, very solid, and kind of not have actually any issues down here as we start heading into the roads into Salisbury. So by showing there those country roads, like it's very, very close to working on those kind of country roads. But just not yet. Just not yet. Okay, this person is kind of preempted their turning right and is going so slow. We've got such a queue behind us. Oh, you're nearly there. You're nearly there. You could have stopped there. I'm not going to be able to squeeze past. So we've just got to sit and wait behind this guy. But this will be interesting though. Obviously it will show us how quickly it's going to start driving off again. Oh, come on. Oh no. How long are you going to be here for? Oh, she's moved forward, but my car hasn't bothered moving forward with her. My car's moving forward now. No, she's still deciding not to go. Oh my gosh. Okay. After this Mazda. There we go. Okay, now we're off. Now this is a nice road now into Salisbury after Amesbury, and it's going to be quite a good road for it, but now we start having a few issues because cars start getting involved by coming on the road, and as you can see there's no middle line. Where they've reworked the middle road there, they've decided not to add in the middle line because again, it's very, very lazy around here it seems when it comes to roads. Again, as soon as any patchwork is done like this, they don't bother to repaint the lines. Why? I have no, and again, it happens every like 30, 40 meters, the lines disappear for a bit. And it's really, really bad. This is better though with the off-street parking, so that's quite good to see. Rather than people having to park on the road, there's actual designated bays for once. Oh, let's see what line it's going to pick here. Is it going to take... Oh, okay, it's taken that one here. Oh, is that road ahead closed? Is that what that said? That the road ahead was closed? Right, back onto autopilot, and you can see it's a little bit confused by the lines here, again, because, oh, Jesus, these roads are dreadful, and the lines are maybe even worse than the roads themselves. Yeah, there's, like, lines disappearing here, and we're coming to quite a hard stop. Yeah, it did brake there quite hard, but not too bad. I'm a little bit confused actually whether this road is closed or not. I don't think it is. It says diversion end over there in front, but I'm not really sure what that was all about. So we're going through some traffic lights here, so we might get a little bit of wibble wobble where the car obviously doesn't see any lines, but let's see if it struggles at all. No? Oh, there we go. Whoa, did you see how quickly it tried to turn right there and I had to stop it? Not sure where it was trying to take me, but if I hadn't have stopped it, it looked like we were going right into the car on the right-hand side, which obviously isn't good. Now this is a little, tried to take that right-hand lane. I obviously don't want it to do that. This is where we're gonna have big issues. These little kind of towns that we have to get to. I mean, this double roundabout, for example, it's a nightmare for humans, especially when it gets busy. Let alone a computer from America trying to figure out on the wrong side of the road different weird squiggly lines. It doesn't have a bloody hope. Okay, no autopilot. Oh, we're going off across a roundabout anyway. And turn it back on. No, okay, still not turning it back on. There we go. Again, middle line completely disappears for this whole road. So the car just decides to kind of sit in the middle, and then it slightly comes over now to the left. I think it sees that as a line. We're going across a roundabout. There's no one to the right of us though, so it's just going to go straight over the roundabout with no problems at all. But the system should really see that that is a roundabout, and it should stop. It should at least slow down, but it doesn't. It does go straight across them like they're not even there. Coming up to a little dual carriageway here, or at least on the left-hand side. I know it's not a normal dual carriageway. Let's see what the car does. It picks the left lane, which is good, and yeah, just goes up it with no problem. I'm going to try and do a cheeky lane change. No. No, it's not going to do a lane change for us. It's going to probably go a little bit crazy here. Yeah, so had a little bit of an issue. I don't like it how it does that. It comes out and then it has to go back in. I wish it stayed in its space in the road and just kind of flowed. Now, there's no one behind us, so if we get to this roundabout, we potentially can let it go and just see what the autopilot system wants to do on it, as long as there's no one coming and there's a lot of space around and everything. Definitely no one behind us for a long, long time. And yeah, if we sit behind this Honda and it goes at a good time, this could work very well. Let's see what lane it's going to pick though. It might pick the other lane. It's kind of just sat here behind the Honda at the moment, not knowing where to go. There's no one coming, so I'm going to let the car do its thing here, okay? And we would have gone onto the roundabout there. It was trying to work its way around, but it wasn't quite able to. Road ahead closed. Oh, well, that's not great. Oh well, let's go up it anyway and see. So again, the road's very wide here, but it's not too bad. It's just very, very bumpy. So we'll keep on going until, if we get diverted or whatnot, I'll turn it off then, but we'll keep it going on these roads, because we're only 5 miles away-ish from Salisbury from here. So it's not far at all. but it does look like there's traffic up ahead. So I'm a little bit intrigued to see actually what is up ahead. What is happening? Why could the road be closed? Again, there's the road ahead closed sign, and it's actually in the middle of the road. So my car had decided not to do anything about it and was just going to drive at it. So we had to divert ourselves around that ourselves. Okay, so here is the road closed, and obviously we can't continue straight on from there. So we're going to have to take the left turn here and go down these even more country roads, which is going to be very interesting to see how we deal with. That's if there's lines, obviously. If there's no lines, then I'm not going to be able to do it, but let's see. Is there lines? Is it going to work? Come on, work down this road for us. Just give us something to play with. It's rerouted us, so this is definitely the correct way. But no, you can see there's no lines on the road, and the car's just not interested in trying to turn on autopilot or anything. So there we have it. There is our countryside drive in the UK on the latest update. Go back and watch my old video on an old UK countryside drive to see the difference and see if it's better, worse, or any specific thing kind of points out that's brand new that wasn't there in an older update. By the way, if you wanted to use PayPal to buy one of the Tesla driver superchargers, you now can. I'm really sorry it's taken over a month to get that sorted, but we had lots of issues with PayPal, but now it's all been sorted and you can go grab one if you want. I saved everybody that asked for one, so I'm apologizing about the wait. Anyway, until next time, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, drive safe.